Okay. We were talking about the logical relation between a word and a morpheme. So, look at the work that has been done here. We considered words like an adder, an orange, an apron. So, here we identified there are these many morphemes present here: add, orange, apron and an. And out of these only is not a word and the rest 4 are words. And my question for you was to identify the logical relation between a word and a morpheme, right. So, then could you think about it a bit? How would you draw the correlation between a word and a morpheme? So, look at add. Add is also a word, it is also a morpheme. Orange is also a word and a morpheme. Apron, a word and a morpheme. An, a word and a morpheme. Only which is a bound morpheme, is a morpheme but not a word. So, that means the derivation could be, or the logical relation that we can draw is all morphemes. Sorry, no, I am sorry. So, the logical relation could be any word can be a morpheme, but any morpheme not a word always. So, morphemes can be, it's not always that the morphemes can be considered as words, but if you look at any simple word it can be considered as a morpheme. So, all morphemes, sorry I am sorry, all words are morphemes, but not all morphemes are words. So, that is the general conclusion or the general derivation that we should claim or we should understand when we do the analysis of these words on the basis of the free morpheme and the bound morpheme that they have. So, here is a more systematic division of English morphemes. I told you I am primarily focusing on English, but you can always refer to your own language and do a similar kind of analysis. So, here it is written, morphemes are free morphemes and bound morphemes. Free morphemes can stand alone, whereas a bound morpheme is dependent. I have already discussed that. So, look at the picture here. This is the classification of English morphemes. So, this is bound. So, this is bound, this is free, and a bound morpheme would have 2 different categories. One would be the affix, the other one would be the contractible forms. So, both the contractible forms and the affixes are bound morphemes. And the free morphemes, they can be classified into 2 types, open class words and closed class words. I did discuss a bit about open class and closed class words in my previous class. And then affixes would have of 2 types, derivational and inflectional. And what are the derivational affixes? They could be either prefix or suffix, and the suffixes are the prefixes are un, re, anti, and the suffixes are ness, ship and ist. And when it is an inflectional affix, generally that is known as a suffix. So, the suffix here is ed and est. So, these are generally known as inflectional suffixes. Okay? Yes, okay. So, we were talking about derivational and inflectional. So, both the prefixes and suffixes can be derivational ones. So, here we have a list of prefixes which are also derivational morphemes on, re and anti, and we have suffixes ness, ship and ist. And as far as inflectional suffixes are concerned, inflectional affixes are concerned, they are generally suffixes. You do not really see prefixes in the inflectional form. In most of the cases they are considered to be suffixes. So, we have we have ed and we have est. So, these are the inflectional ones. And the other form of bound morpheme is the contractible form. Contractible form would be is, are and will. Instead of saying he is, we can simply say his with an apostrophe s. Similarly, so this is what I will write. You can write we are, or we can write simply we're, right. You can write they have, If you want to write it in a contracted form, then it is going to be the F, right. So, this apostrophe RE, apostrophe VE, these are the contractible forms. Okay. So, these are also bound morphemes. Okay. And if you go to the free morpheme section, we have open class words and closed class words. In the open class words, we have nouns, verbs and adverbs, as I have discussed. You can also add adjectives. So, the list is not exhaustive. The list is basically symbolic, or you can consider it as a tentative thing. So, the nouns like bed. Bed could be when it is a noun like bed, you can always add new nouns to the lexicon. You can always add new verbs to the lexicon. You can always add new adverbs and adjectives to the lexicon. You can delete some of them. If you remember in a couple of classes earlier, I was talking about add, delete or alter or change. So, if you can add some words from, like in the lexicon, if you can delete some words from the lexicon, if you can change the meaning, you can either narrow them or you can broaden them, then it is going to be, or these sort of words are considered as open class words. So, we also have the adjective in the list, and as far as the closed class words are concerned, generally we have conjunctions, prepositions and pronouns. So, conjunctions like and, but, or, prepositions like in, over, under, and then you have pronouns like he, she, it, they. So, this list is limited. So, these are the ones which are known as free morphemes, right. So, that is how the entire discussion of morphemes can be sort of compiled together. So, let us just recall, let us just discuss it again. Morphemes is for your kind information. I would ask a lot of questions in the exams, as well as you will have to do a lot of exercises which would cover a significant amount of text or significant amount of course content from the morphology section. So, please be attentive and be careful. So, when it is a morpheme, we have free morpheme and bound morpheme. The free morphemes are either open class words like the nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, and it could also be closed class words like prepositions, conjunctions and what, pronouns, right. And when we go to the bound morphemes, either they can be affixes or they can be bound bases, or not the bound bases, either they can be affixes or they can be contractible forms. In the category of affixes, we will have inflectional affixes and derivational affixes. When it is inflectional, these are only suffixes. And what are the inflectional affixes here? Ed and est. And when we are going to the derivational affixes, they can either be a prefix or they can be a suffix. So, in this case, we can have un, re and anti. So, these are considered to be the derivational suffixes. And when you go to the contractible forms, we have is, are, will, have. So, and I have already given you some examples here. So, now let us try with this is the time for some kind of analysis related to the derivational and inflectional, or for that matter let us try to figure out if we have some kind of work that we can do together to identify the free and the bound morphemes. So, we will begin it with a very complex word. I'll come back to complexity in a while, why I would call it a complex word. From a layperson's perspective, if there are many morphemes found in a word, you can call it complex. But then it depends on the nature of the morpheme, whether you are going to call it a complex word or you are going to call it a compound word. That is a different story altogether. So, for the moment we will work on some complex words which will have multiple morphemes. So, it will have prefixes, it will have suffixes also. So, let us see, I am giving you a word, let us say reconstruction. Okay. So, in this case we will find out what are the morphemes that we see in the sentence, or we can say Here is a word which is a complex word called reconstruction. We will try to break it into morphemes. Then I will give you another complex word, let us say rationalization. So, do not be scared with the number of letters that the words have. We need complex words to analyze, so that we can actually show what is a free morpheme and what is a bound morpheme. So, that when we go to the morphological typology, you should be very clear what exactly I look forward to from you to understand, right. So, let us try reconstruction. Try to recall what was the definition of a morpheme. A morpheme was minimal, meaningful and distinctive unit. So, we have to find out what are the minimal units here. So, my suggestion would be there is a morpheme called re, then there is another word here, word morpheme, that is no sorry, then we will have construct, will have oops, I am so sorry, I have to start writing from the beginning. So, one is re, then the other one is construct, then the third one is eon, right. So, these are the three morphemes that I see in the first word. Now, let us go to the second one. The second one could be rational, the second word could be rational, then it could be rationalize, then it could be eon. So, when it is a suffix, we put a hyphen before that. When it is a prefix, we put a hyphen after that. So, in this word you can see rationalization has three morphemes and reconstruction is going to have also has three morphemes, but here re is what? That is a prefix. Eon is a suffix. Why? Because the prefixes occur before the root word and the suffixes occur after the root word. So, now you tell me what is here? What is the root word in rationalization? The root word is rational. So, what will be eyes? Eyes is a prefix, and what is eyes is obviously a suffix, because it occurs after the root word or the main word, and eon is also a suffix. Okay. So, all these prefixes and suffixes that you encounter, these are bound morphemes. Remember, they cannot be free morphemes, because they are always dependent on the root word to get the complete meaning, and all the main words are basically free morphemes. Okay. These are free morphemes. So, I will write it as FM, and this one I will write it as FM2. And my question for you would be, do you think, okay, these are the complex words. Remember, if a word will have one free morpheme and many bound morphemes or suffixes and prefixes, that will be known as, or for that matter contractible forms would be known as, what is it? This would be complex words. We will go to the simple, compound and complex difference in the next class in more detail, but as of now, just remember how to identify the free morpheme from the bound morpheme. So, the bound morpheme here is they are re, which is a prefix, eon, which is a suffix in reconstruction, and is, which is a suffix, and eon, which is another suffix in rationalization. So, these are the bound morphemes, and what are the free morpheme? Construct and rational. So, these are the free morphemes. Okay. So, in the like through the assignment, you should encounter more such examples. So, what I will do, I will just quickly tell you what we mean or what do we understand when I say simple, compound and complex words. So, the simple words, and now remember we have to revisit the definition of words. Instead of saying it is just the combination of letters, why can't we say it is the combination of morphemes? So, if the word has only one morpheme, it is a free morpheme and that is a simple word. If the word has many morphemes, one free and others are bound, it will be complex word. And when it is a compound word, there are many morphemes and all of them are free. Okay. So, I am going to write it over here and I hope you remember. So, words are of three types: simple, complex and compound. And I just said we have to deal with this now, not in connection with the letters, but in connection with the morphemes. So, if it is a simple word, it will have one morpheme and that will be a and this will be a free morpheme FM. Remember the notation. And when it is a complex word, it will have more than one morpheme. Could be 2, 3, 4 depending on the number. More than one morpheme, and the formula is going to be one free morpheme plus at least one bound morpheme. The number could be more. So, I am writing . So, it would mandatorily need one free morpheme and a few more or one more bound morphemes. When it is a compound word, it will have both the free morphemes. Okay? This is also more than one morpheme, then only you call it compound. But this more than one morpheme will have at least two FMs. So, I will give you an example. So, tree, the examples that we have already discussed, then we have construction, okay. Then we have a word like landlord. This is a simple word, this is a complex word and this is a compound word. In the next class, we will analyze why, and I hope you got the idea, the way I have drafted the, like I have mentioned the rules. It is basically tree is a word which has only one morpheme, and since it has only one morpheme, it is a free morpheme and it is a simple word. In construction, there are two morphemes, construct plus ION. So, construct is the root word which is a free morpheme and ION is the bound morpheme. So, this will be FM plus BM. So, it will be a complex word. With compound word, land plus lord. Land is also free morpheme. Why? It can stand alone independently. Lord can also stand alone independently. Lord also does not depend anything else to be considered as meaningful, completely meaningful. So, that is why both land and lord, these are free morphemes. So, because of the two free morphemes available with this, we would call it what? Compound word. So, that is how we are going to understand morphology and its relation with the word. So, simple, compound and complex, free and then the bound morpheme. So, under the category of bound morphemes, there are different things, and under the category of free morpheme, that is also, there are also different things, and which are shown in the picture or in the diagram given here. Okay. So, along with with this, I finished the discussion on morphology, and straight away I will go to morphological typology in my next lecture. So, see you soon. Thank you.